So a little bit about my background. Steve and I met in junior high, and we grew up in the same neighborhood, probably passed each other by many, many times. Literally grew up 3 blocks away from each other and had mutual friends. But the first time I can remember seeing him was in junior high. And at first, we didn't really get along. But then we slowly became like the best of friends, and we really, really started our relationship by just finding this mutual love and respect for each other's minds and the way we thought, and just wanting to be a part of each other's lives. We were just drawn together. And, we were very young. He was 12, I was 13. But we fell in love. It was a hard and fast love. And, throughout our teenage years, we were back and forth together trying to deal with this very adult relationship because we had fallen so fast. And when I was 19, I had been living in Seattle for a few years with my mom and my stepdad. And I came back for a visit and I saw him, and I just was so, could never imagine not being in the same place with him again. So I moved back here and we got married. And, we had long talks before we got married, because we were so young. We talked so much about the type of lives we wanted to have together because we wanted to do it the right way. Definitely wanted children. My dad's a minister. I grew up in the ministry, and I was always helping with kids, at church, at school, carrying around the neighborhood kids like on my hip, like I was their mom. That was my favorite thing to do, play house and be the mom. And so we really set our life goal to have a loving, healthy marriage and to raise children. That is my life plan. That is our life plan. And so we just were set up for a great life. Got married at 19, started, working really hard, doing everything we could to set up our life to be able to have kids. And we had that typical 5-year plan where you say you're going to wait a few years and establish your life so that you can give your children a better life. And unfortunately, we tried to be really smart about that, and it severely backfired on us, because the thing is that no one tells you that you need to have a plan B. Our plan A was to, work through the bumps that is life, but to have a happy family, to raise children, have as many as we could, and create a family, between our love. We wanted to create a family from the foundation we had started way back in junior high. And so to have this profound love for your husband and relationship, and then, think about having children. So we went through that process, and the day we decided that, look, we're established enough, let's start trying. He had a great job, I had a great job, we had savings, we were looking for a home to purchase, very established in our relationship, and so we started trying. And for years, it had been in the back of my mind that maybe there was, something that I was going to need to do to get pregnant besides just the conventional ways. But I had gone to my OBGYN and several ones over the course of the couple years and said, gosh, I'm not having my period. I'll go 3 or 4 months and I'm not getting a period. Is everything okay? Do I need to do anything to, be healthy and make sure that this is okay? And every single one of them, and I saw at least 4, told me throughout the years between the age of 18 and 24 that, nope, everything's fine. Just come in when you are ready to get pregnant, and, maybe we'll put you on Clomid or something just to make you have your period. Sometimes you have to do a cycle of birth control and then you'll get pregnant, when you come off of it. So I thought everything was fine. And when I went in, when I was 25 and said, okay, I'm ready, I want to get pregnant, after trying for 3 months on my own, not being successful, the doctors did the first ultrasound, a vaginal ultrasound, and they immediately said, you have polycystic ovary syndrome and you have cysts all over your ovaries. And I was in such crazed shock, because this isn't something that crept up overnight. This is something that I probably had through my teens, to 25 years old, that day. And here I've been to the doctor so many times, making everything okay? Is it okay that I don't have a period? And here we are now, and they're saying, oh yeah, there's a reason you don't. It's polycystic ovary syndrome. and you have cysts all over your ovaries. That's the reason why you're not having a cycle and why you're not ovulating. So, that first day, it was such a tremendous shock. Like, you're kidding me. I've gone to the doctor. I've asked about this. We've waited. But even then, never knowing how big of a deal it was going to be. I mean, my God, had no clue. So we started down this journey where we thought out, okay, it's just going to take some time. I'll just need to take some Clomid. Now, we're decided we're going to do this, And I remember when we first made the decision, like, we're going to go down this journey, we're going to try this. It's time. My husband we were thinking it over because we were trying to be very responsible about when we made the decision to get pregnant. And, being so naive, not knowing the road we were going to have to go down, my husband made this joke of, you know what, as we were sitting silently, like thinking it over, coming up with the right time, he said, I'll tell you what, if you go get me a bowl of ice cream, which is his favorite thing, I think I'm ready, and kind of made a joke about it. And it was this blessed moment to then, then cut to sitting in the doctor's office, finding out, okay, I should have had this information in front of me the whole time that it was going to be a hard time, because now I'm 25, which is young, but it's not that young when you think of years of trying, which I didn't know I was going to have to go after. So here we are thinking we're still in plan A and that everything's going to work out. We're going to have this great happy life and we're going to have children and everything's going to work out fantastic. And so we go through our journey and we tried Clomid for a year and no success whatsoever. Then we tried IUIs for a couple of years. No success whatsoever. I didn't get pregnant once. We tried. It's month after month. There's medications, injections, having to run out of a dinner party or a get together and go do my injection in the car. Having people say to me, oh, when are you guys going to get pregnant? When are you guys going to have kids? And having to, kind of laugh that off because you don't want to share too soon, and I remember once my sister-in-law said, to someone else in the family, I'm sure if Janelle and Steve wanted to have kids by now, they would. And just my heart breaking, like, no, that's not true, And so eventually I started to share what was happening with my whole family just because I thought, they're not going to know me or know my heart or know my life if I don't share this because it's becoming so much of a part of it. It's taking over our lives. It's what we breathe, what we think about when we go to bed, and what we think about when we wake up. So we went through many, many IUIs at tons of expense. We haven't been on a real vacation, and we've never been anywhere, big time. We didn't go on a honeymoon or anything like that, so we never went anywhere because how can you spend $1 on something like that when you don't even know how you're going to create a family? How can you spend, $2 at the movies for popcorn or something because, at the end of the day, you don't know where your family's going to come from. It's going to cost tens of thousands of dollars. So we did the IUIs and they didn't work and we were told that IVF was probably our only option. So we started working really hard. My husband started working for a funeral home and, working through the coroner's office and picking up, bodies at night and everything and taking them to the funeral home. Working really hard and then working during the day. So he'd get up at 2:00 in the morning and go run and do this, a coroner's run for someone when there'd been an accident or something, just, for $50. So we could add that to our nest egg, our family fund. And so we worked really hard and then we had amazing family that helped us, get towards our goal. And it was really difficult on the whole family. We all pulled together and did everything we could. And then we did our first IVF, and it was needle after needle, hormones after hormones, and feeling crazy, bloated, anxious, scared, tired, exhilarated, broke, and it happened. The first IVF, we did it, and I was pregnant. At that moment, I remember sitting in the car and waiting for the news, and we were driving home and getting that call that it worked. You're pregnant. and hearing that for the first time in my life through all of our struggles, all these years, all this money, all these sacrifices, all these tears, and I'm pregnant. And it was amazing. It was the best feeling in the world. And, they told us to be careful. They told us to be precautious, to not get too excited. And we tried to do all those things. We tried not to celebrate too much because it's a scary and, in the first trimester. And, but how can you not? You have a life growing inside of you. I mean, it's something that you've hoped and prayed and dreamt about since you were a little kid. How can you not be excited in some way? How can you not let yourself feel that there's a child growing inside of you, that your love has created a person, And so we were pregnant and thrilled. And then I went to the doctor for a checkup at 11 weeks, and my husband and I were both there. We were so happy, gonna hear the heartbeat again, and the doctor said there was no heartbeat. And at that moment, my entire world just crashed. All that hard work, all that money, it's just gone. And the pain that I went through, the injections, night after night, all the medication, it was over. There was no heartbeat at 11 weeks. And so, it was over. And I don't know how you get through that, but we did. We started saving again. We pulled things together, and, a miracle happened. We did it again. And we didn't even get that far. And we were heartbroken. We were devastated. Having to call everyone and tell them that it didn't work. I mean, everyone knew I was pregnant. How can you not share that when you're that thrilled, when you've gone through that much? And so, my whole family went through it. It was excruciating for everyone. And then we did it a third time. We actually braved through it for a few years. I worked a lot of jobs that I didn't like, worked for a lot of mean people, and put money away as much as we could. My family helped as much as they all could, and we started that dream again. So we just, this last summer, did our third attempt at IVF, and now it's been 7 years since we've been struggling with this with the doctor's help. And that third IVF was so built up, it went better than any previous thing had gone. We had so many embryos. They collected so many eggs. We did so good. The embryos looked great. It was the best case scenario. Before I went into the third IVF, we had found out that I had Asherman syndrome, so I had scar tissue from the first miscarriage. So they removed that, had this big painful surgery to get ready for it. Went in to do the IVF, the injections were going well, every ultrasound looked great. The progress was wonderful. The doctor said it was the best case scenario. They put 2 beautiful embryos back, and we just waited and prayed and hoped because we knew this was our last chance. This was our last opportunity. I had lost my job. I went and, I told my boss that I needed to take a little bit of time to be able to do the IVF, and it was a small amount of time that I needed, and just to let him know that I would be feeling sick, but I would be pulling through and doing everything I could, and he let me go. I lost my job, and we were very quickly losing our home because we'd put every penny we had into this. We did everything we could to make this work. I mean, you got to be all in when it comes to something like this. How can you not? This is your life. So we did that, and we gambled and we lost. After the third IVF, they called us, even with all the perfect scenarios, and they told us that it didn't work. And I remember laying in bed with my husband, and we had been waiting all day to hear. And when she called and said, "I'm so sorry, it didn't work," I had to have her repeat it, because there was a time when I didn't think we'd ever be able to do one IVF. I mean, how in the world do you get that money? You read books where people say they mortgage their houses, they stop going on vacation, or they do this or that. But what if you don't have those resources? What if you're already so stretched? We had no more savings. We had nothing. We were borrowing. We were selling things. We were doing anything we could to create this life. And then I lost my job. And we couldn't keep our house. And this all started coming to a head, and we just went all in. We have to be all in to get this done. We have to do this. We have to achieve this. And so we did. And when it didn't work, when she called and said, I'm sorry, but it didn't work. You're not pregnant. Those are the most haunting words I think you can ever hear. So at this point, I lost my job to this. We lost our house to this. And a whole lot of my sanity. I just don't know where you go from here. I don't know what you do. I don't know anybody else in my situation. I've been really open and honest about what we call our quest to be parents, and shared it with a lot of people. And I've had a lot of support. But there's a club that I will never belong to. You hear women talking about being a mom and their labor and the things that they've gone through, or the soccer game that they've coached, or whatever the circumstances are. And that's something I'm never going to know. And that's the point where we're in. Is I'm so blessed that we had the opportunities we had, because God, I know that there's couples out there in my situation that didn't even get to do it once. And I got 3 chances. But we worked for those chances. We worked hard. And they didn't work. And so now we're left just with empty arms. I never had a plan B. All I wanted to be was a parent. A mom. I read all the books. I prepared myself my entire life, so did my loving husband. And now I pass a park and I see a father playing ball with his son. I see a mom shopping with her daughter. And I lose it. It breaks my heart, because I will never know that bond. Infertility is something that rips your heart out. It tears through your life like a freight train. I don't know how to get over this. I don't know how to move on. I'm stuck. I am literally standing still in a crowd screaming. And everyone is going by. Everyone is still moving. Everyone is still living their life. And I don't know how to get back in the crowd. I don't know how to keep going. I'm stuck in this. To never feel like I'm going to be able to look at a child and see my husband's eyes. Never have a Christmas morning where I wake my kids up to open presents, or to feel a baby kick, or hear someone call me mom. That's a desperate feeling. I don't know how to explain it, but more than just, it rips through your life. It's heartbreaking. And I share these things because I want people to know that if you know someone out there that's facing infertility, be kind to them. Give them a little extra patience, because it's not something people talk about every day. It's a very private thing. And it makes you feel less of a woman, less of a human being, damaged. It's affected my health. It's affected my finances. It's changed me from a very positive person to a fragile one. to someone that doubts, to someone that's more negative. So please, if you know someone that's going through this, give them a hug. And trust me, you'll never understand the pain as much as you want to. Until you go through this, you'll never know how hard it is. My best friend has 3 kids whom I love. My cousin has a child who I adore. I'll have relationships with them. I'll be auntie. But I will never know what it's like to be mom. I'll never be a part of that club. And that's really difficult. It's beyond difficult. So please, if you know somebody else that is going through this, just reach out to them. And if you're going through this, just know that you're not alone. You're not alone. You're not the only one that breaks down in the grocery store. You're not the only one that gets angry when you see someone yell at their kids. You're not alone. This is something that affects millions of people. You know, they say 1 in 4. Where are they? I know they're out there. I don't know anyone else. I feel very alone in this, but I don't want anyone else to. So that's why I share this painful journey. My husband and I will go on and we'll try to be the best versions of ourselves that we can, but we're stuck in this depression and I don't know how to get out of it. I don't know how to move on. This was us. I was 19. He was 17, 18. And we saw the whole world in each other's eyes in this big, happy life. And we loved so deeply, but we didn't have that plan B. And as much as I went to the doctor and to make sure that everything was going to be okay, I was told it was going to be, and it wasn't. And I know doctors aren't always right. They don't always know. But it's really important that when you're young, you get an ultrasound, that you make sure everything looks okay. These people wanted to be parents more than anything. We still do. And we just need a little bit of hope. We just need a way to get a blessing that everyone else gets to have. We need a way to get through it.